Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasneet Singh Bindra, and I'm the country head for the Chartered Institute for Securities and Investment, a UK-based financial services certification body, which was formed by the members of London Stock Exchange in the year 1992. And we would like to welcome you on behalf of NISM, the National Institute of Security Markets, and CISI for today's talk on a very relevant topic on blockchain. We will come to the topic very soon, but before that, I would like to welcome you all and also would like to welcome our chief guest for the day, Dr. Natsima. Before I welcome Sir, just a small brief introduction about Dr. Natsima. Dr. V.R. Narasimhan is the Dean of School for Regulatory Studies and Supervision and School for Corporate Governance at NISM. He has more than 40 years of work experience in financial and capital markets in India. In his last assignment, he has worked as GM in SEBI in 1990s and worked in drafting regulations for market intermediaries. Thereafter, in 1996, he was part of the team that set up NSDL and was a member of senior management team at NSDL. At NSDL, he has set up National Skill Registry for NASSCOM and Central Record Keeping Agency for PFRDA. In the past, he has also worked as compliance head for Kotak Group and for Karvy Group. Prior to joining NISM as Dean, he was Chief Regulatory Officer of National Stock Exchange. Welcome, Dr. Natsima. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Jasneet, for the kind words. On behalf of NISM and on behalf of Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments, I welcome all the participants to this webinar. It's a very interesting and important webinar from understanding the newer technologies that are going to make probably a substantial change in the way in which you are going to conduct transactions and the way in which you are going to keep the records going forward. This is, of course, blockchain has been talked. It has been in the currency for the last 5 to 7 years across various jurisdictions. There are different understandings and misunderstandings about what this blockchain can do and cannot do, and where are the applications in which blockchain can be applied or not applied. There are a lot of misgivings, and there are also positive news about it. There are regulators who are having different views on the subject. Some people say yes, blockchain is good for transactions. Some jurisdictions are not very much inclined towards accepting blockchain. We know that certain jurisdictions have already accepted blockchain technology for the purposes of clearing and settlement of securities transactions. In some cases, some banking transactions are also getting conducted through blockchain. What is important for the participants in this webinar is let us form a basic understanding of what blockchain is all about. How does it work? Where it can be applied? I'm sure that Mr. Sriram Kannan is going to speak about a lot of things where the applications are going there, how exactly blockchain is constructed, how it's going to be utilized. He may be showing more of the financial transactions in which is being used. I'm sure that he will be covering some of the securities-based transactions also in the blockchain technology. I wish that this webinar is going to be very productive and purposeful for all the participants. Jasneet must have already told you. What we suggest is that after this after this webinar, people who are interested in taking a certification webinar, probably they should apply to CISI, that is Chartered Institute of Securities Investments, and try to obtain a maybe blockchain certification that may be helpful for young and aspiring candidates who are among this webinar participants. I wish this webinar all the success, and I encourage all of you to ask as many questions as possible and take maximum benefit of this particular webinar that's being organized by NISM and CISI for your benefit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Natsima, for your words. We would just want to briefly, in the next 5 minutes, I would want to talk to you all about what is CISI, the Chartered Institute of Security Investment. I have a small PPT for our participants. As I mentioned, CISI, which is the Chartered Institute for Security Investment, was evolved from the London Stock Exchange in the year 1992. In fact, this year we are celebrating 28 years of our existence. The building that you see, which is shaped like a walkie-talkie, is in London, is where our office is. We work very closely with the regulators all over the world, including NISM also in India. Although we are a small organization with only 170 staff, our international offices are all over the world, and we have 45,000 individual members out of which 20,000 of them are students. CISI is a not-for-profit organization, a registered charity in the UK, and we do 40,000 examinations every year. And most of these examinations are covered in the area of financial services, ranging from front office, middle office, and back office. So it depends on the participant and the practitioner of the student, which area of financial services they are indeed interested on. Apart from that, we are also have got the Royal Chartered from the Queen of England herself in the year 2007, and that's the reason we are called as the Chartered Institute for Security Investments. Every organization has its own principles. CISI also follows three principles on which is defined as knowledge, skills, and behavior. We believe professionalism is all about knowledge, skills, and behavior. And if you don't have the last one, which is behavior, the first two will kill you, right? So knowledge is by the virtue of the qualification or any learning that you do. It's very, very important, essential. The second thing is on continuous professional development. Now, any qualification or certification or knowledge that you gain, it's very important for you to update yourself on a regular basis, and that is done by the virtue of CPD, or called as continuous professional development. CISI is also a membership body which offers you qualification as well as ensuring that you stay abreast with the latest changes in the financial services world. And last but not the least, we talk about ethics, integrity, the right behavior, and as I said, probably this is the most important pillar of the entire professionalism cycle. This is our international representation. We have international offices in Spain, Ireland, Scotland, UK being the head office. We have a huge presence in Sri Lanka, UAE, Nigeria, Africa, Philippines, and of course, we have an office in Mumbai in India. This is a very important slide which talks about the global regulatory connections of CISI. As you see, CISI works in 61 jurisdictions all over the world, and we cover almost the UK region, US, European region, Southeast Asia, Middle East. In India also, we work very closely with SEBI, NISM, the RBI, and also the other professional trade bodies. Now, briefly talking about what is our association with NISM, we have a wealth management qualification called as International Certificate in Wealth and Investment Management, which has been recognized formally by NISM in the year 2014. Right? So this qualification is also fulfills your RIA requirement for you to be a registered investment advisor in India. Right? Apart from that, these exams are ongoing. It's got international portability. The international examination, which is offered by CISI, apart from the India one, has got regulatory recognition in UAE, in European region, UK, and also Southeast Asia. As you can see, the qualification structure talks about 2 units. There's an international wealth management examination, which has to be topped up with a wealth and investment management examination from India. Both the examinations put together gives you the recognition in India as well as globally. We work with most of the global banks, financial services firms around the world. Just to give you some stats, we work with 95% of English-speaking investment banks. And these are some of them which you can list it and see it on your screen. We work with the who's who's of the international banking industry. And very slowly, after our recognition from NISM, we also started working with domestic Indian banks like Kotak, ICICI, HDFC, and the others. Lastly, an important announcement for everyone. The session which will be done by Mr. Sriram Kannan on blockchain. All the participants who are interested in enrolling for an e-learning course on blockchain can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to offer you an e-learning qualification on blockchain, which basically will help you get a certificate also. With that, thank you so much. And now I would briefly like to introduce Sahil. Sahil, would you want to talk about NISM and the recognition that you would want to cover?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm here to speak about NISM. I believe most of you would have heard about NISM. So NISM has started its operation in the year 2006. And this has come from the Parliament's mandate to SEBI to set up an institute to professionalize the securities markets, because the government of India has acknowledged the fact that people require that securities markets require a special skill set which a normal academia cannot deliver the required skill set or do the capacity building. Therefore, it was mandated to SEBI in the year 2005-06 budget when then Finance Minister of India has announced that SEBI will set up an institute, and therefore SEBI has set up an institute called NISM. And let me share with proud that SEBI has invested around 400 crores rupees in setting up an ISM, and SEBI has made a very beautiful campus of an ISM at a place called Raigarh in Raigarh district called Patalganga. It's about 12 kilometers from Panvel. This is what is the requirement? As I said, that there's a need was felt that there should be people who should be have minimum amount of standard of qualification required in securities market. So one, of course, we are engaged in the area of capacity building among all the stakeholders, because there are various stakeholders required in the system which has required minimum amount of understanding of subject. Therefore, they have to be trained. We do a lot of work in the area of financial literacy, so not apart because investors are also my stakeholder. Therefore, they also need to be informed about their rights, their duties, what are various options available before them for investment. Apart from that, we also engaged in professionalizing the securities market by way of various, which I'll cover subsequently in my slide. So NISM operates from 6 verticals. The first one is School of Securities Education. So this school is basically engaged in providing long-term, long-duration programs for students who want to pursue career in securities market. So NISM runs 3-4 its signature programs. One is a 2-year PG program in securities market, which is approved by AICTE. So it has been happening from last 4-5 years. In fact, NISM also been running one program called PGCM. That's PGCSM, that is called for people who are having work experience. So NISM runs one specific program for ICICI Bank, wherein ICICI Bank replaced students, and then they come to NISM to study for 1 year, and they go back and work at ICICI Bank in different capacity. The third program which we run at NISM is in association with Maharashtra National Law University. This is LLM program, which is 1-year program, LLM in investments and securities laws. Fourthly, we have just launched a program called PG program in data science for financial markets. So herein the intention of preparing people for securities market and to provide them required skill set in data science area. The second vertical of NISM is very important, which is called School of Certification. So as SEBI has mandated that certain market intermediaries or market players has to have acquired certain amount of skill sets or certain amount of knowledge to acquire before they actually hit the market. For example, research analysts, investment advisors, mutual fund distributors, or fund derivatives dealers, or compliance officers, they have to undergo compulsory certification. And NISM has the monopoly to certify these certificate, and NISM runs around 17 mandate certificate. Apart from that, NISM also has some aspirational certificates also. Those who want to aspire or have more knowledge about subject, they can also appear for those aspirational certificate. Apart from that, NISM also do some certification for PFRDA, and we also act as a test center for certification of IBBA as well. So as Jasmeet has rightly mentioned that CC is one of the accredited institute or a body which has been approved by NISM for its investment advisory certification. So we have another 5 more agencies who provide also accredited by NISM for RIA certification. Our third vertical is called School of Regulatory Studies and Supervision. So this school is very critical from the perspective of continuous professional education for the people who are in the system. So therefore, these schools act as a staff college for regulators, like especially SEBI. All the SEBI officers comes at NISM to get trained at the induction level, and also at all the different intermediate level to acquire different skill set. Apart from SEBI, this school also done a lot of program for market participants for any new concept that is there. Apart from this, the schools also take care of training regulators, authorities like CBI, police, enforcement directorate, IAS officers, IPS officers, IRS officers. And in this schools also takes care of training of lot of international clients also. So all our neighboring countries are clients of NISM, and NISM has been providing a lot of training inputs and technical support to our neighboring regulators as well. My fourth vertical is the School of Investor Education and Financial Literacy. So this is a very conscious effort of NISM to propagate financial literacy. In this regard, NISM do a lot of work in the area of investor education and financial literacy. So NISM do all this activity in this school completely free of cost. It goes to the schools, colleges, self-help groups, a group of residents or in any society. They go and speak about what is financial literacy is all about, and also try to convert these people into investor. This is completely as a philanthropy work of NISM. The fifth vertical, SEBI has been mandating a lot of corporate governance standards since 2000, and we have seen landmark change, drastic change in terms of the disclosures or the standards being set up by the regulators, and we have a lot of pressures. The SEBI has under a lot of pressure to make it corporate governance more stringent day by day, and just to make people aware what is corporate governance is all about and what is expected out from directors, compliance officers, trustees of mutual fund or independent directors. Therefore, this vertical of NISM does a lot of workshops, training, and to make people aware about what is expected from there. First of all, let them understand what is corporate governance is all about. Here, NISM do a lot of workshops wherein we invite directors or people who aspire to be directors. They come there, they understand what is the duties obligated to them once they become director. Also, this school takes care of training of independent directors, because independent directors are not the executive employees of any company. Therefore, they get only meet about company or only during board meetings. Therefore, they need to know what questions they should ask in the board meetings. Therefore, NISM trains them for that purpose. Similarly, we since SEBI has mandated one woman director in all the listed companies, therefore we also have a lot of training in the area of corporate governance for these women directors as well. Apart from that, we also have done a lot of work for compliance officers as well. So NISM keeps training the compliance officers of listed companies to make them aware about all the changes prescribed by SEBI and the stock exchanges in terms of corporate governance standards. Lastly, but not the least, we have the school called Security Information and Research. So this school takes care of research, and NISM does a lot of research in the area of securities markets and provide a lot of policy inputs to the regulator. So SEBI has made a regulation in the 2007 that's called CAPSM regulation, wherein it has mandated, as I mentioned, that the people who have to acquire certain skill set before they get into the business. So therefore, as I said, there are 17 obligated compulsory exams which people have to pass. Different exam for different people. Like mutual fund distributor has to pass MFD, or RI has to pass 10, 8, and B. Similarly, compliance officers, the equity dealers, derivatives exams, then registrars when issue. These exams has to be passed by respective people before they get into. And these exams are valid for 3 years. And after 3 years, they have an option either to appear for the exam again, or they can attend a 1 day or 2 day CPE program of NISM. So this is our numbers about certification. We have around 26 certification, 4 SEBI mandated, 7 aspirational, and 3 certificates we do for IBBI. 1 certificate has been mandated by PFRDA, and 1 certificate we do for financial literacy to check the understanding of resource persons. So let me share here, the SEBI has hired a lot of resource persons who are given the task to go and do a lot of propaganda about financial education. So to actually check whether the what is the understanding, the level of understanding of this resource person. Therefore, this test has been devised by NISM to check their understanding of financial markets as such. So these are the certificates which SEBI has mandated for like investment advisors, research analysts, merchant bankers, mutual funds, derivatives, broking operations, risk management, compliance officers, and blah blah. Similarly, for IBBI, we have 3 certification, and for PFRDA, 1, this is retirement advisors, and financial literacy, as I mentioned to you, for resource persons. So why the NISM certificates should be sought after in the area of securities market? Because 1, it's authentic, it's completely unbiased, because it's a regulatory setup, it's completely So though it's SEBI's organization, but SEBI has no role in the conducting of exams. Completely Chinese wall between SEBI and NISM for this purpose. We keep updating our curriculum, and once how we decide the curriculum also, because we have committees where people from the industry themselves come and sit with us and they help us to prepare the curriculum, and when they tell us what to be included in the curriculum. Therefore our curriculum is always updated, and we always cover what is the new thing in the system which a new entrant should be aware of. So these certifications are self-study. You need not to appear for any classes, and we provide all the material on soft copy. And these exams are on MCQ basis, multiple choice questions. We run this exams from over 250 centers across India. And now after, we're also planning very soon to launch exams from home, because COVID-19 government has not allowed us to operate from physically from our test centers. Therefore, we are soon to launch online tests as well. You will soon hear from us on this line. The validity of my certificate is 3 years. And as I mentioned to you, in case you want, after 3 years, again, you have to renew it either by reappearing for the exam, or you can attend any of my CPE program for renewal. For CPA, we have over 400 panel trainers for different subjects. So they conduct programs all over India. An exam fees of an NISM exam is very minimal, just 1,500 rupees per exam plus GST. That's all. So that's all from my side, Jaspreet.
Great, thanks, Sahib, for the information on the NISM side. Very interesting to know that the exam model is now moving on the remote invigilation mode. That's something that from CISA point of view, we are also contemplating to ensure that we go on to the remote invigilation where students can take the examination sitting at home and not travel all the way to the test center. Fantastic to know that.